Hey guys, you like that intro? Reminds you of 2016, right? So I'm covering my brows with the glue, and you want to do this at least 3 times, or it depends how dark and thick your brows are. This will just help cover, like I said, to cover your brows underneath the face paint, which you would want to do, and you want to use a washable glue. So I'm taking this Brow Mousse by Maybelline. It's from the Superstay line. And I'm just filling in my brows. And I came up with this idea because I love The Nightmare Before Christmas. And I just want to compare Nightmare Before Christmas characters with some Christmas characters. So I'm taking some orange eyeshadow to help cover up my brows some more. And it Orange concealer is usually a correct concealer to cover up the dark circles, so I'm using the orange eyeshadow to do that as well. Now I'm taking my vanilla concealer by L'Oreal and we're just going to put that on top of the brow. Then we're going to blend it out with a dense brush, just like the one I'm using. That's by Morphe. Then I'm going to take the setting powder by Morphe and we are just going to set that as well. The reason you want to cover your brows is because it gives you a nice smooth base and also so you can imitate a different brow shape if you need to with a character. So I'm doing Zero from A Nightmare Before Christmas on one side. So, and this is the inspiration that I am showing you guys. And we're taking that black face paint from the Athena palette. The Athena palette is an oil based face paint, and so I'm using this as a base for my black eyeshadow just to make it darker and more opaque and pigmented. So the palette I'm using is by Morphe. It's the Lisa Frank palette, and so we're going to put the black eyeshadow on top of the base that I just put on. But before you place the eyeshadow on top of the base, you want to make sure that there's not any creases, so there's no creases in your shadow. So I am taking this sky blue from the same palette and we're going to use that to blend out any harsh lines just so it can look all seamlessly. So I've created this channel just to have a space to where I could just have a page to where I could just share my work on when I'm doing just face paint looks and everything like that, whether it's character looks or just designs for kids' face paints. And I just started getting into kids' face paint designs, so I wanted to have a space for that. I am using the Diamond Fix white face paint and we are gonna place that on the side where zero's gonna be. And yeah, I like this face paint. Use a lot of Snazaroo face paint. That face paint is super affordable. You can find that at Michael's or Amazon, or they even have a website of their own, not sponsored or anything, but that's the face paint I've used when I first started out my face painting, and I still use them till this day, but I definitely do want to try other brands to do. And I like this face paint from the Fix Diamond because it's very pigmented and opaque and super white. You don't have to do so many layers of the paint just so it could show up. Just like with the Snazaroo, I have to do at least 1 to 2 coats of it just so I can have a very nice opaque uh, base. So I am going in with a ColourPop eyeshadow palette using the white eyeshadow, but later on decided that this white eyeshadow is not really working too well to set my face paint. We want to set the face paint because it will help it stay in place for when we add little details onto our face, and also to help it stay on a lot longer than you want to. So I'm using a hip hip dot eyeshadow palette instead for the white, which I would love to get another one because I love this white eyeshadow. Now I'm taking the Too Faced Better Than Sex eyeliner. This is my favorite eyeliner. It goes on very smooth, it does not drag. And we're just drawing little lines around the eye, some details that Zero has that I saw on the makeup look I showed you guys that I'm going off based based off. So going back into the Athena face paint palette, we're going to create a little highlight effect in the middle of our eye and under the lash line, just because it's one of the details. Then we are going to go back in with the Lisa Frank palette, and we're taking a dark blue and we're using that as contour just so we can add more definition into this look so it can look a little more realistic. Now we're moving on to the side that we're going to do Rudolph on. I'm just showing you the picture that I'm taking inspiration from. And I'm going in with the Juvia's Place Coffee Shop palette and taking my vanilla concealer and use it as an eye primer. And then we're taking this brown shadow and we're going to put this in our crease and we're going to wing it out. Now we're going to take a darker brown and we're going to deepen up the crease and we're also going to wing it out as well. Then we're going to take that same fluffy brush with a little bit of brown and we're just going to blend it out. Then we're going to go back in with the concealer and we're going to cut the crease. You want to go ahead and be slow with this because it takes some patience and practice. Trust me, it does. Then we're going to go in with that white eyeshadow from the Juvia's Place palette and place it all over the concealer that we just placed. So for the primer, I am using the e.l.f. Power Grip Primer. I love this primer. It's my favorite drugstore primer, and it just helps everything stick and stay in place. So I am using the Maybelline Superstay Skin Tint for foundation. This foundation is one of my favorites. It doesn't feel heavy or cakey. It just looks like skin and feels like skin. And for concealer, I'm using the Too Faced Born This Way concealer and place it where I need it. Taking this brown face paint from the Athena palette and we're using this as contour and just place it to add more definition and where I normally would put contour and bronzer. Taking that brown eyeshadow palette from the Juvia's Place palette and placing it where we just put down the face paint. This just helps it stay in place and not move an inch. After we bronzed up our face, we are just blending out our concealer. After I use a brush, I like to go back in with a sponge and blend it out some more just so everything can look seamlessly. Now we are just going to go ahead and cut the cheekbone even more. Gonna use the Morphe Jumbo setting powder and we're just gonna set everywhere that we just placed concealer so it does not crease, it does not smudge or anything like that. I love this setting powder. Now I'm using that same brown and we are contouring our nose and I'm just bringing it up towards my brow. Then we're carving out my nose more as well. Now we're just wiping away the powder and we're going in with the setting spray, Milani Make It Last, and just helps it melt everything together and stay in place. Taking that dark blue eyeshadow and contouring our nose for the other side. With the white face paint going under our waterline, just is going to help make our eyes look bigger and more awake. And we are going to go back with that brown and smoke it out underneath our lash line. Now with the brown face paint, we're going to go ahead and move on to our chest area and we're going to place it on by our neck and on our shoulder and a little past the shoulder as well. Then we're going to go in with that white face paint again and we're going to make little dots that Rudolph has. Now we're just going to go ahead and go in with that shadow again and we're just going to set the brown face paint that we just put down. Now we're just going to go ahead and add the dots again on our shoulder and the neck. So moving back on to the side of Zero, we're going to go ahead and create the bottom half. I don't know, to create his body. I tried to go with triangular shapes, but noticed that I needed to go with squiggly lines instead. And because he's a ghost dog, so we're just going to go ahead and create his body shape. And we're using the white face paint from FX and just fill in some of the spots. And same thing with the black face paint as well from the Athena palette. Going to take the white eyeshadow and we're going to set the white face paint and make sure that stays in place. Then we're going to go in with the black eyeshadow and we're going to do the same thing as we did with the white. So once everything was set, we're going to go ahead and go back in with the black eyeshadow. We're going to add some shading in the white face paint area just to add more character and make it more realistic and more definition as well, and so it can make it look like it's popping out. Now we're going to go in with the red face paint and put on Rudolph's nose, and we're going to do the same for Zero's nose as well. Then we're going to go ahead and set everything, of course. With face paint, you want to set it just because it will help, stay in place and stay on a lot longer. And I've worn face paint in Florida for Halloween and the hot burning sun, and it stayed in place all day long. So this is the final look. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.